Hi everybody, how are you today? We're gonna learn about 16th notes. So if you haven't noticed, we're in Essential Elements Book 2 on page 16, number 67. And on the top of your page, you have a little yellow box that says 16th notes. And it says how to count them, and then it kind of has a factoring tree, and then it has 4 single 16th notes, and it says it equals the barred together 16th notes. We're going to talk about all of those things. What we're going to talk about first is what's kind of in the middle of that little yellow box. So if I have my little whiteboard, and you have, let's just say you have a regular old quarter note, plain old quarter note. What's going to happen here is if you split this into 2, and we've talked about this before, you have 2 eighth notes. You guys have been doing this long enough to where you know that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in book 2. Now, if you split up those 2 eighth notes, like each one of those, then you would have 4 16th notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, I gotta draw them. And you'd bar them together like this, but instead of just one line like this, like eighth notes, you would have 2 lines. And that kind of lets the musician know that these are broken up even more. That's all that is. So when you are going to count 16th notes, the way you're supposed to count them is 1, that's the number 1, E, like E, the letter E, and, well, we're going to use a plus sign for and then we're going to put an A. If you were to count this really, really fast, you'd go 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, if you're going to measure a full 4 time. And then the other thing they're saying is that if you have, like let's say you just need one 16th note by itself, a 16th note by itself, you would draw basically the quarter note, and then you have the little eighth note flag, and then you have to draw another little flag, and now it's a 16th note. So if you had to draw one by itself, that's what it'd look like. So if you had to have them all separately, you'd have quarter note, eighth note, and then a 16th note. You basically just keep adding lines to show that the note is faster. So if you were going to go even further than this, think, what's 16 times 2? 32. Even I can do that math. So you would have a 32nd note. You would just add another flag. It'd probably look a lot better than that one though. So what we're going to do next is this. It is just as important to know how to count this as it is how to play it. So we're going to chant it out loud first. I'm going to have a metronome on at 80 beats per minute, which isn't really too fast or too slow. We're in number 67, we're in 2/4 time. Okay, so when we count, we're only going to be counting like we have 2 beats in a measure. So if you count number 67 with the metronome, you can do it with me. 1 and 2 and 1 and go. 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1 rest. 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1 rest. Now if you were to clap and flap this, please clap and flap this with me, it would sound like this. Make sure you're not going too far because it'll be very hard. Keep your hands close. 1E and a 2 and ready, go. 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1 rest. 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2 and 1 rest. Now, when we play it all together, we will be playing this on our open D string. If you're going to play 16th notes with your bow, you have to use little bows. So the shorter your bow is, the better your 16th notes are going to be. When you watch me play this in the next example, I'm not going to show this on every single instrument because it's going to sound exactly the same and it's just on your open D. but you'll watch my bow and my 16th notes are going to be considerably smaller than my 8th notes. If you do not keep your 16th note shorter than your 8th notes, then it'll sound scrambly and it won't ever sound very clean. So make sure you have less bow for your 16th notes, even less bow than your 8th notes. I hope this helps. I'm only going to be playing this on the violin, but you can play with me. I'm playing this on open D. 1, 2, ready, and. Complicated for this particular song, but really you just have to make sure that if you're using quarter notes, you have longer bows, 8th notes are even less, and 16ths are even less than that. Just keep that in mind when you're doing this, and you'll probably be pretty successful at it then. I hope this helps you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.